James Melendez, James the Wine Guy, just reflections back on 2014. Now, I know it's not the end of 2014, but a lot of people start preparing for that as soon as December 1st hits, it is a time to end the month. In 11 months, you can look back and say, here is the year. And you can look at magazines like Wine Spectator's Top 100 are out, or maybe it's Wine and Spirits, but ultimately it's to look backward for me just for a moment, to reflect, not to dwell on, and I think it's really great to do. What I've learned this year is, I think, a better way of doing wine videos and the beverage arts, and it's something that I think, I looked at actually Wine Spectator as kind of a model, except they don't do the same things that I do when we talk about the beverage art form. And it's really important to do so because, how could I exclude, I think even from an intellectual capacity, how could I exclude things like tequila, ale, gin, vodka, tea, coffee, etc. It's just really, it's all about this sensuous delight and enjoying this, beautiful beverage art form. And I think that's the point that I come from. And that's that exploration. And I think what I have learned along the way was, and perhaps some things that I've lost along the way, or a few subscribers. Ultimately, I think I gained more than I lost, and I think that's because it's that all-encompassing view. Now, I don't expect everyone, including yourself, to see every single video. The only person that ever has seen every single video that I made is me, and that's the only person I would expect that to ever be. I think it's about picking and choosing your content. What do you want? What do you want to see? Maybe there's a compelling wine you want to hear about. Maybe there's compelling content you want to hear about. Maybe it's all about gin. Maybe it's all about wine. Maybe it's all about Italian white wines. Who knows what you are really seeking? But that is up to you to choose. Now, I think ultimately what I did find this year is, and I'm looking towards a methodology. I go through waves, and I mentioned this in previous videos, where I'm tasting through maybe one entire region or one entire variety, then I skip out, go back to it again. Versus really, keeping that mindful view of the wine compass, shall we say. And I would say a definitive, lack of wines from are Austria and Australia, the 2A countries. And Croatia's been behind as well. Slovenia, there's a lot of countries. Greece has been a little more wines that I've tasted. Italy, probably the most wines from Europe. And I need to taste more German wines, more French wines, so I've tasted more French this year than last year. And Spanish have declined a bit in terms of me tasting a lot of Spanish wines. Portuguese, very few wines this year. A lot of American wines, of course, and remarkably, very few Argentinian or Chilean wines. But I think that's really keeping that in scope, and I have to develop that methodology. And that's one way, when I develop that, I like to share that with you and really look at that in a different way. Giving that homage and giving that, okay, I don't want to be, not tasting a Washington wine for 8 months or 7 months or whatever it is. I want to taste it on a more regular, periodic basis. So I think that's one of the learnings, ones amongst many learnings that I've had this year. Lastly, I've tasted more wine than I ever have before this year. And I think they've been much more of a higher tier selection that have landed on my table, which is a great thing. I've tasted, I think, a much more depthful experience in terms of when I look at the tasting table in terms of spirits or ale or tea or coffee. My first tea review was this year in 2014. I was a little bit on the fence of doing my first tea review. I thought, oh, am I the right person? Because, I've done some ale reviews, beer reviews, and people have been like, oh, you know nothing about beer, or, this is something you should leave to the professionals. And, that was my response was, well, I don't think anybody should be excluded from doing wine reviews. I welcome it. I think somebody coming from across, quote unquote, the aisle, maybe they're doing Scotch reviews and they should do wine reviews. And if they're doing coffee, they should do tea and so forth. And I think you get the idea. So that has been my focus this year. So stay tuned for more. 2014 has been an amazing year, and I've said that again and again. And I do expect 2015 to be a very similar year, so I'm very excited about it. Stay tuned for more. You'll find me in many social medias: Facebook, Twitter, Vimeo, Google+, Pinterest, LinkedIn, as well as Instagram and WordPress. Thank you again for watching today, and salut.